The Warriors could have 2 lottery picks in the upcoming NBA draft, and we are going to be live for the NBA draft lottery tomorrow night, Tuesday, starting at 7:30 Eastern. So come join us. Go to youtube.com/chatsportstv and subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel because we'll be there with you every step of the way, unveiling which teams pick where in July's NBA draft. You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. And now that the Philadelphia 76ers have choked, crumbled, and stumbled their way out of the NBA playoffs, Ben Simmons trade rumors are hot, and a lot of people are linking Ben Simmons to the Golden State Warriors because of the player who he is, but also because of that possible on-court fit. Good thing for any team that decides to trade for Ben Simmons. He's going to be under contract through the 2024-2025 season. The only thing is that contract toward the end of it is upwards of around $40 million. And of course, he does have some limitations to his game, as we'll explore here on today's show. He's also coming off a historically bad playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks. So what is his trade value right now? First, let's look at the good with Ben Simmons. He was named to the first team all-defensive team in the NBA. He is one of the best lockdown defenders across the entire association. We're talking about a guy who can legitimately guard 1 through 5. A big reason for that, he's a phenomenal athlete at 6'11", 240 pounds. You watch how he glides across the floor. It really is phenomenal at times. There aren't many guys at his size, at his stature, who possess the athletic qualities that he does and have the overall basketball skill set that Ben Simmons currently possesses. Speaking of that skill set, phenomenal court vision, especially in the open court. When you see a guy at Magic Johnson's size dish out the rock that Ben Simmons does, you just sit back and say, wow, that is unique, that is one of one. And while he isn't a knockdown three-point shooter and doesn't really attempt three-pointers at all, he does a great job at creating three-pointers for his teammates. He's one of the best in the NBA at that, and as I mentioned, he really excels in the open floor with the ball in his hands. The bad with Ben Simmons, he's awful in the half court, and as we've seen, as the Sixers have struggled to get out of the second round of the playoffs, when the game gets tight, when it slows down, Ben Simmons in the half court is a total liability. He can't shoot, and he just overall refuses to shoot. Also, in the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks, I find this stat to just be crazy. He attempted 4 shots in the fourth quarter in all 7 games of that playoff series and shot an NBA career worst in the playoffs, 34% from the free throw line. That's not good enough. And the image of him passing up that dunk late in the game against the Hawks in Game 7, giving it up to Matisse Thybulle, is going to live on forever as one of the what the F plays are you doing? As for trade odds for Ben Simmons, going into this pivotal NBA offseason for the Golden State Warriors and for the Sixers and Simmons, Trailblazers currently in first place at plus 250, the Spurs at plus 300, the Wizards at plus 400, so 4-1 odds right there, as well as the Bulls at 4-1 odds, and your Golden State Warriors at 5-1 odds. Do you want Ben Simmons on the Golden State Warriors? Let your opinions be known in the comment section down below and get your votes in. Type W for yes, I want him. Type D for nah, don't bring him to Golden State at all. Now, Colin Cowherd had Marcus Thompson on his The Volume podcast on Monday, and he proposed this very loose trade idea that would allow the Golden State Warriors to bring in Ben Simmons, and the Sixers would receive James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and draft picks. But now that Ben Simmons' value has somewhat gone down because of that disastrous playoff showing, Cowherd didn't necessarily pinpoint what that draft compensation would be, but he did pose this loose trade idea to Marcus Thompson, who, let's note, he wrote a book on the Warriors dynasty and is very tapped into that organization. Here's what Thompson had to say. I don't think the Golden State Warriors are into Simmons that much. I think there's a split within the organization. There's some people who are like, man, give me that much talent and I'll make it work. But I think the Draymond problem is a big concern. They already have a guy who's kind of like Simmons, but Draymond is definitely more aggressive offensively. But he doesn't stick the three. You don't have to guard him like that. So I think they're concerned about putting those guys together. And that would be my concern for Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, and this Warriors organization. Ben Simmons is very much like Draymond Green. And I think offensively, he would clog things up. Draymond at least attempts three-pointers. Ben Simmons does not, but they're both not good three-point shooters. So defenders just kind of back off, which kind of clutters things up offensively for sure. So that would be my big concern if the Warriors were to bring Simmons in. But what do you think about this trade idea? Would you make it? If so, type T for trade. If not, type P for pass. If you're new to us here at Chat Sports, we're a very interactive YouTube channel, and we like to let you insert your opinions. You can do so here with either typing T for trade or type P for pass. Get your votes in down below. As I mentioned, myself and Harrison Graham are going to be live for the NBA Draft Lottery, unveiling which teams are picking where in July's NBA Draft. So be sure to kick it with us. Everything tips off around 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to bring you our live analysis and reaction. And as soon as we figure out which teams are picking where in the NBA Draft Lottery from picks 1 to 14, as the Warriors could have 2 lottery picks, we'll bring you our latest updated NBA mock draft. When is Steph Curry going to sign his contract extension? That's a big question that is hovering around this organization going into this offseason. Joe Lacob hopped on Tim Kawakami's podcast on The Athletic. And by the way, Tim Kawakami has been landing monster guests on his podcast. Joe Lacob, Kyle Shanahan, for all of you in the San Francisco area. And Joe Lacob discussed Curry's contract extension on that podcast because Curry is set to be an unrestricted free agent after next season in 2022. And let's be honest, let's be real. All signs point to Curry signing that deal. Here's what Lacob had to say specifically about that topic of conversation. My full expectation is that Steph will be with us for the remainder of his career. I think he wants that, and we want that. So I really don't have anything to say about that other than we're in the middle or started that process that'll go on this summer. Steph Curry is not leaving Golden State. He's not leaving the Bay. You just can't let your franchise pillar, the face of your franchise, walk. And I think Steph Curry wants to remain with this organization. And honestly, if he were to leave, it would be similar to Michael Jordan being in a Washington Wizards jersey. It would be odd, it would be weird, and it flat out just wouldn't be right. So Steph Curry, he's not leaving the Warriors, and he's not going to don another jersey, even though people want to draw up the Lakers and Steph Curry rumors. Look, I don't see that coming to fruition, especially given the season that he's coming off of, which I think was the best of his entire career, which is crazy to say because he was 33 years old last year. Won the NBA scoring title, 32 points per game even. He's still dishing the rock at an elite level, but the shooting splits are just phenomenal. 48% from the floor. From long range, north of 42%, and in his career, you're talking about an all-timer. He's the greatest shooter to ever live, and he's the most influential basketball player of the last couple of decades because nobody has impacted or changed the game like Steph Curry has. More so than LeBron James and Michael Jordan. That's really saying something right there. And his career numbers, they're great. As for the Steph Curry contract extension breakdown, Bobby Marks was on ESPN discussing it. Here's what it would look like. And given the numbers that Curry is putting up, the player that he still is, that contract is going to be fat, and Curry is going to secure the bag. It looks something like this according to Bobby Marks. 2022-23, $48 million, followed by nearly $52 million. How about almost $56 million in 2024-2025, and then the following season, almost $60 million? We're talking about stupid money, and Steph Curry, if you're watching right now, us here at Chat Sports, a lot of people support what we do. Warriors Today is growing like crazy. You want to help us continue to grow? How about you give us $1 million? I will take that money right now. Steph Curry is going to secure the bag. Joe Lacob knows that. It's a matter of when, not if, Curry is going to sign that extension. So which day do you think he'll actually put pen to paper? NBA free agency starts on August 2nd. I think this deal gets done immediately, but let me know what you're thinking down below. Make sure you subscribe to Warriors Today and let this be your off-season hub for everything that's going on with this franchise. We're bringing you all of the latest Warriors news and rumors, so either hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/WarriorsTV. We're bringing you the latest Warriors news and rumors. Any NBA free agency rumors or news that comes out with the Warriors, we'll be sure to let you know here on the channel. James Wiseman is going to get traded, or is he not? That speculation is something that we've continued to cover here at Chat Sports. Lacob, on that podcast with Tim Kawakami of The Athletic, spoke on the chances of the Warriors dealing James Wiseman, who was selected number 2 in the 2020 NBA draft. And the reason why people continue to talk about this, including us here at Chat Sports, he's been a part of trade discussions to get Golden State another star player to capitalize on this win-now window with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson coming back, as well as Draymond Green. But the Warriors have refuted traded Wiseman before, and Joe Lacob did that again with Tim Kawakami, saying, quote, "This is all very unlikely. I mean, it would take a lot to make me and Bob think about doing anything like that. People who talk like that, they don't understand the economics of the NBA." Now, us here at Chat Sports, we understand the NBA, the economics of the NBA. How about Wiseman, though? We simply bring you this Tim Kawakami, Joe Lacob, chopping it up about it. And when James this is what Joe Lacob also had to say about Wiseman. I'm so flabbergasted we feel the need to update you on everything that's going on with the Warriors. So, frankly, that's what we do here on the channel. But what do you think? Should the Warriors shop James Wiseman this offseason to bring back another star to surround Steph, Klay, and Draymond? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Be sure to get your votes in the comment section down below. What I read about James Wiseman, I mean, I don't know what these people are watching. I'm excited about what I saw this year. When you draft 19-year-olds, you're drafting on potential. Nobody is coming in and dominating at 19 years old, which I think Joe Lacob makes a very good point in saying that. He continued on by saying this: "I'm looking at 3-4 years down the line. What is this guy going to provide for this team for the next decade or so? And I think this guy that we drafted is going to be great. I think he's going to be an all-star level player, and nothing I saw this year diminishes that belief." And for Warriors fans out there, you have to be wise about James Wiseman and understand what Lacob just said. This is a guy who was a teenager, who's in his early 20s, and a lot of people are trying to peg him as being a bust. He dealt with a lot at Memphis with his NCAA eligibility issues. He clashed at times with Steve Kerr, and he also had to deal with a lot of injuries as well. But don't let that kind of overshadow the fact that this guy has a bunch of ability. There were times last year where he really, really flashed, and he's such a young player. And for him to be thrust into the role that he was, where he was starting games that was in playoff contention, it's a really difficult position for him to be in. He was really just trying to find his way as an NBA player. And for a guy who's in his late teens, early 20s, it's very, very difficult to do. So I thought Joe Lacob made some good points in saying that, and just saying, yo, Warriors fans, you have to calm down about this James Wiseman trade speculation. We're not looking to deal a player of this caliber. He has so much potential. We saw it on display this past year, but be slow with him and just let him develop, because James Wiseman has potential to be a very, very good player.